Hi everyone, this is Jenny from Crafter's Companion. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about layering. A lot of people ask me, how do you get your images to look like one thing is in front of another thing? And basically the easiest way to tell you is to show you. So here, if you look at my little teddy bear, you can see that on his foot it's all basically black, but by adding a little bit of shading, I actually made the front part of his foot look like it's closer than behind his foot, than his leg itself back here. So the trick is the back part, the back layer needs to be darker than the front layer where they join together. It doesn't matter down here that the top layer is dark, but where they join together, the front layer must be lighter than the back layer in order to make it look like it's layered. Here I did the same thing. I added a little bit of shading in behind his little paw here, which made his little paw look closer than his arm. Again, over here I put some shading back behind his little paw, and his paw's a little bit lighter than that shading. And so that actually gives me some layers and makes things look in front of each other. Here on this little girl, I actually made it darker back in here than I did on the top because I wanted the inside of the hat to look further away or underneath the top layer, and that's why I added a little bit of shading right there. You can also see on her face a little bit, I added a little bit of darker flesh color, which makes it look like there's a little bit of a shadow there right there on her face. So let's grab another one here. Here is a little girl. If you look at her really close, you can see that I actually added some darker color behind her sleeve, which makes her sleeve look like it's closer to me. Underneath her little ruffle here, I added a little bit of red, just a tiny bit, but it has to have a little bit so that that looks like it's further away than her little ruffle here. And here I did the same little girl. You can see it really easily on her sleeve. I have it darker back here, and the sleeve itself is lighter. Back here, I have it darker, and the bodice of her dress is a little bit lighter, and so it looks like it's closer or layered. So you can tell that a little bit. So that's basically how I did that. And the same with this flower here. You can see each petal of the flower is dealt with as an individual piece. So I have some darker back here behind this petal, and the front petal's a little bit lighter where they join together, which shows some layering. If you look at each of the little petals, you can kind of see that I did the same thing everywhere. Here it's darker on the back part and lighter on the front petal where they join together. It's easier to show you on a simple image, so we're actually going to use this little butterfly here from Stamp It. I absolutely love it. It is available at Crafter's Companion. And if you see this here butterfly, I colored it all one color. You can see that there's no layering whatsoever, and these two wings look as if they're just the same level. There's no layering whatsoever. Over here I added some shading in, and it actually looks more dimensional or layered. And over here I have a blue butterfly. It's not exactly blended out, but this one here looks like it definitely has some layers. So we're going to go ahead and give that a try on one of these little butterflies here. And how I do that is I start off with my darkest color, which is a BT5, Blue Turquoise 5, and I'm going to add my darkest color in. Some people like to start with their lightest color. I prefer to start off with my darkest. Sometimes I'm in the mood where I do start off light, so there's no right or wrong way to do it. But this is how I'm going to start mine off, is with my darkest. And now I come down here. I'm just going to add some dark down here on the bottom. And back here, because this I want to look further away or layered behind this wing. This wing here where I put this line, I want this to look like it's behind this wing. And again here, I want this wing to look like it's behind all of this front wing. So that was my BT5, my darkest color. Now I'm going to take a BT4 and I'm going to blend this out a little bit. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong color. Sorry guys. So here's the BT4 and I'm going to blend that. You can see how nicely that blends with the BT5. Kind of warm here at my house today, and this BT5 had already dried, so you can see how it gets a little bit of a water line. Sometimes I like it when I do boo-boos because then you can see what I'm talking about. There's a bit of a water line. How I'm going to get rid of that is I'm going to go back to my BT5 and I'm just going to re-wet it. Now there's more fluid there and the colors are going to blend together much quicker and easier. So now I'm just going to barely touch it with my BT4 again, pull it out. That's telling me that I need to color in smaller areas. So I'm just going to finish this little part of the wing first and then move on to the other areas. So if it does that to you, you might want to consider coloring in smaller areas. So this one back here is already dry. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and re-wet it with my darkest color again. There we go. Now I'm going to take my BT4, which is my medium color, and I'm going to blend that. I'm going to softly dilute the edge of my darker color and pull it out. So I'm pulling that out. Oops, I went outside the lines. We all know the blender pen will fix that though later. So there we go. And now I'm going to take my lightest color and I'm going to soften that. Again, I'm not real happy with how this blended. So you can see if it doesn't work right the first time, just go ahead and do it again, right smack on top of it, but then you're going to have to blend it all out again. There we go, I'm happy with it that time. So now we're going to move up here to this layer, and I'm going to re-wet this. I'm going to try to do both of these at the same time. And now I'm going to take BT4, and I'm going to, yep, it's working just fine this time. See how I blend that out? Now let's blend this one. And now I go down to my lightest color, my BT2, and I finish it up. I think I want this part out here to be dark, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do these little pieces in dark, just because that's how I want it. That's something about coloring, we get to make things our own color. So there you go, there's my butterfly. You can see how it has some layers. This layer here looks like it's behind this layer. This layer looks behind this layer. And this layer here looks like it's behind that layer. So that's a bit about layering. I hope you enjoyed my video. Let's go ahead and fix my little mistake here. And so I always tell people to make sure and take clean scrap paper or bare paper, whatever you want to call it, and set it underneath your image before you correct. Now I'm going to take my blender pen and I'm going to softly dilute that mistake right there. I'm not going to try to correct it all with one try. I'm going to actually let this dry now, and then I will go back and dab it some more after it dries, and it will take the mistake away. What it's going to do is it's going to dilute the color and push it through to my clean scrap paper underneath. If I try to do it all at once, it's going to wick into here and dilute all of my butterfly, which I don't want to do. So that's my video today. I hope you learned something. Please come back again and watch some more. Have a great day.